Hi, you guys. We are going to do an activity together today so that you can get a little bit more practice with simplifying expressions, but I want it to be guided practice. So the way that it's going to work is I'm going to pick 4 of these 8 questions to do for you, and I want you to write down exactly what I write down. You're going to follow along, and then you're going to do the other 4. You will then bring that back to me. I'm going to check it off, and then you're going to move to the next set of 8, and we're going to do the exact same thing. So these get progressively harder as we move through the worksheet. Let's go ahead and start with number 1. Whenever your instructions say to simplify the expression, what that means is that you're going to distribute. If there is any distributing to do, you're going to write that down, and then you're going to combine like terms. Now, the thing that gets tricky about simplifying expressions is remembering to do the correct integer operations. So I'm going to draw this little triangle up here, this little magic triangle. This triangle will help you to remember what the sign of your answer needs to be if you are multiplying positive, negative numbers. Okay. Another thing I want you to pay careful attention to is inside your parentheses, you can see that these 2 terms are not like terms. You can see that this 2 right here, it is just a constant, right? It does not have a variable with it. We call that a constant. And then the other term has a subtraction sign in front of it. And so that is actually a negative 8 times by m. Okay, now right next to that parenthesis, what I want you to notice is that you have a 7, but there is a subtraction sign in front of it, which means that that is a negative 7. Okay, so when you simplify expressions, the very first thing that you do is you distribute. So you look at your parentheses and you have to figure out what is the term that is right next to the parenthesis. And in this case, that is a negative 7. And then distributing means that you're going to multiply both of the terms inside the parenthesis by what's out front. Because in math, anytime you have a number next to a parenthesis, that is implied multiplication. Okay, so I'm going to distribute, and then I'm going to write down what I get after I distribute. So a negative 7 times a positive 2, using our magic triangle up here, we can see that if we have a negative number and we multiply it by a positive number, that we're going to be left with a negative answer, right? So negative 7 times positive 2 is negative 14. And then we have our negative 7, that we are going to multiply by this negative 8. So pay careful attention to your signs. A negative times a negative this time. So if we take our little triangle here, let me redraw it. So if we take our little triangle, we can see that if we cover up the 2 negatives, that we are going to be left with a positive. So we need to write that down as positive 56m. Okay, now part of our expression that we haven't done anything with yet is the negative 2. So we now bring that down, and now we're going to combine our like terms. And in algebra, when you're simplifying expressions, if 2 terms are like terms, meaning that they're both constants, like we have a negative 2 and we have a negative 14, then we can combine them. So a negative 2 and a negative 14, think about the number line. If this is 0 and this is negative 2, and we're combining that with a negative 14, that means we're going more in the negative direction. So that is going to give us a negative 16. We still have our positive 56m, and then that is our final answer. Because negative 16 is a constant, 56m is a variable term, and you can never combine constants with variable terms. Okay, so question number 1 done. The next one that I am going to do with you is number, let's see, which one do I want to do? I want to do number 5. Okay, so on number 5, first step is we want to look at our parentheses, and then we want to look at the number that's right next to our parenthesis, because whenever it says simplify, that means we want to distribute the number right next to the parenthesis first. We're going to write that down, and then we're going to combine like terms. So 3 times 5 is 15. And then this is 3 times a positive 8k, which is a positive 24k. And then we still have our negative 3k. So now we combine our like terms. Like terms are the two terms that have the exact same variable to the exact same power. So that is a positive 24k and a negative 3k. And when I look at those two, 24 is a bigger number and it's positive. So we know our answer is going to be a positive 21k. And then we have a positive 15. That is going to be our final answer. Okay. Let's go ahead and look at number 8. Okay. So on number 8, we're going to distribute first, then we're going to combine our like terms. Notice that the number that is right next to your parenthesis this time is a positive 6. So that 6 is going to multiply by the positive 7. It's also going to multiply by this negative 1. So one of the things that students often forget is if there's a subtraction sign in front of a term, that term is negative. So this is a negative 1. Okay, so let's distribute and then write it down. 6 times 7r is 42r, and then 6 times negative 1 is negative 6. This was a positive 42r, and then we still have our negative 3. Okay, so from there we're going to combine our like terms. We have these two constants, a negative 3 and a negative 6. So that's going to give us a negative 9, so 42r and a negative 9. I could also write this as 42r plus a negative 9. I could also write this as a negative 9 plus 42r. Those are all equivalent expressions. Okay, let's do one more together. Let's go ahead and do number 7. So simplifying the expression means to distribute first, right? Write down what you have left. So 2 times 4v is 8v. 2 times 4 is 8. This is a positive 8v. Then we bring down our 5. Now we combine our like terms, 8v, and then my two constants, positive 5 and positive 8, which is positive 13. Okay, now what I want you to do is you're going to pause the video at this point. You're going to pause the video. You are going to do questions number 3, 2, 4, and 6. You're going to show me all of your work. You're going to bring that back to me. I'm going to check it off with you. Once I've checked it off with you, you're going to come back to the video. You're going to unpause it, and then you're going to go to the next part. Okay, so pause the video now. Do 3, 2, 4, and 6. Bring it back to me. I will check it off with you. Okay, so you made it to step 2. Awesome, good job. So now we're going to do the same thing we did before. I am going to pick some questions to do for you, and then I'm going to have you do some on your own, and then you'll bring those back, you'll check it off with me, and then you'll move to the last set. Okay, these get progressively harder. So these ones are harder than the ones we did last time. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and start with question number 9. Now, the thing I want you to pay careful attention to is the signs. You can see inside our parenthesis, we have a positive 8b, and we have a negative 7. And then right next to our parenthesis, we have a negative 4. Because there's a subtraction sign in front of that 4, that 4 is negative. Okay, so we're going to distribute first. We're going to pay careful attention to the detail of our signs. Then we're going to combine our like terms. So negative 4 times positive 8 is negative 32b. We write that down. A negative 4 times by a negative 7 is going to be a positive 28. We write that down. Now we bring down our 8b and we combine our like terms. Pay careful attention to your signs. This variable term 8b is a like term with this variable term negative 32b. So if I combine a negative 32 and a positive 8, I am going to get a negative 24b, and then I have my positive 28, final answer. Okay, let's go ahead and do number 11. So remember, you're writing down everything that I'm writing down. So first thing we do is we look in our parentheses. We pay careful attention to the details. This is a 7m positive and a 5 positive, right? So the number that is right next to our parenthesis is a negative 3. So I'm going to take that negative 3, I'm going to distribute it to both the positive 7m and the positive 5, which gives me negative 21m and a negative 15, and then I have the negative 8. Now I'm going to combine my like terms. A negative 15 and a negative 8 make a negative 23. So negative 21m, a negative 23, and we are done with that one. Okay. Now, one of the things that's really confusing for students is when it's not a number that's right next to the parenthesis, but when it's a subtraction sign. So notice on number 12, when I look at my parenthesis, the thing that is right next to my parenthesis is this negative sign. So that negative sign has to be distributed to both of the terms inside the parenthesis. And the thing that that does is it's just like distributing a negative 1. So it changes the signs of both of the terms inside the parenthesis to their opposite. So a negative 1 times 7x is negative 7x. Negative 1 times 2 is a negative 2. Now we're going to combine our like terms. So when I combine a negative 7x with a positive 7x, nothing's left. They totally wipe each other out, and the only thing I have left is a negative 2. So no x. Negative 7x and positive 7x is not an x, it's nothing. It totally cancels each other out. My final answer is negative 2. Okay, I want to do one more with you. Let's see which one. I think 15. Okay, so inside my parenthesis, I have a positive 1r. Remember, that's an invisible 1. Positive 1r. And then I have a negative 3. Next to my parenthesis, I have a negative 4. So let's go ahead and distribute. Negative 4 times r is negative 4r. Negative 4 times negative 3 is positive 12. Then I have my 3. I'm going to combine my like terms. I have to make sure to remember that the sign in front of the number is our term is attached to it. So this is a negative 4r, and then I'm going to combine my like terms. This is going to be a 3 and a positive 12, which makes a positive 15. Okay, so you guys are going to do questions number 13, 10, 14, and 16. You're going to show me all of your work, and then I'm going to check it off with you. So I'm going to pause, do that. I'll check it off with you, and then you'll come back and you'll finish the last set. Okay? Okay, so here we go. We're going to do some of the hardest ones, which require you to distribute twice and then combine like terms. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and start with number 17, but let's pay careful attention to our detail here before we even get started. So inside this parenthesis, we have a negative 10b, and we have a negative 9, and then right next to that parenthesis, we have a negative 5. Okay. For the other parenthesis, inside the parenthesis, we have a negative 6, we have a positive 10b, and then right next to that parenthesis, we have a negative 8. So the way that this is going to work is we are going to do two distributions. Then we're going to combine our like terms. So -5 times -10 is 50b. -5 times -9 is positive 45. So I just took the -5 and I distributed it to both of the terms inside the parenthesis. Now I'm going to do the same thing with the -8. So -8 times -6 is a positive 48. -8 times positive 10b is a negative 80b. Now I'm going to combine my like terms. So I have two variable terms, 50b and negative 80b. I have two constants, which would be the positive 45 and the positive 48. So when I combine a 50b and a negative 80b, I get negative 30b, and a positive 45 and a positive 48 is a positive 93. Final answer. Okay. Let me see which one I want to pick. I think I'm going to go ahead and do number 22. Okay? So here we go. Pay attention to the details. First, always know what your signs are. So inside my parenthesis, I have a positive 2, I have a negative 3v, and then right next to my parenthesis, I have a negative 6. Inside my other parenthesis, I have a negative 4v, and I have a negative 9, and then right next to that parenthesis, I have a negative 2. So we're going to go ahead and distribute first. Negative 6 times 2, negative 6 times 3v is positive 18v. We need to do negative 2 times negative 4v, which is positive 8v, and then negative 2 times negative 9, which is positive 18. Okay, now we are going to combine our like terms. So the negative 12 is going to combine with the positive 18. Those are both constants. And we are going to combine the 18v with the 8v. Okay, I actually want to do those in a different color. So 8v, 18v and 8v, that is going to be 26v. And then a negative 12 and a positive 18 is a positive 6. Final answer. Okay, I think I'm going to do 3 this time, and then I'm going to leave you with, I'm going to do one more. I'm going to give you 2 to do. I'm going to check those off, and then I'm going to have you do 2 more. Okay? Let's see. Let's do number 23. Okay, so look inside the parenthesis. Make sure you pay attention to your signs. This is a positive 1. This is a positive 4v. Right next to my parenthesis, I have a negative 2. And then in this parenthesis, I have a positive 4. I have a negative 8v. And then right next to that parenthesis, I have a negative 8. Okay, distribute first. Write down what you get. Then combine like terms. So negative 2 times 1 is a negative 2. Negative 2 times 4v is a negative 8v. And then we have negative 8 times 4, which is negative 32. And then a negative 8 times a negative 8v, which is a positive 64v. Okay, now we combine our like terms. The negative 2 is going to combine with the negative 32. So that's going to give us a negative 34. And then we have our negative 8v, which is going to combine with our 64v. And that is going to give us a positive 50, what is that, 56v. Final answer. Okay, now here's what I want you to do, okay? You are now going to do number 18 and 19, show me all of your work. You're going to do both distributions, then you're going to combine your like terms. Okay, distribute, write it down, and then bring down your terms and combine your like terms. Bring it back to me. I'm going to check it off with you, and then I'm going to have you do the other two. Okay? Okay, great job. Hopefully after this, you will be ready to do your test on simplifying expressions. Okay, I'll see you in a minute.